Which is better for you, the LG Stylo 5 or the Moto G7 Power? Well, in this video, we're going to be talking about it. Follow me on Instagram at KevinBreezeTV. Please join the Kevin Breeze Tech community on Facebook to chat about budget smartphones, ask questions, and help others. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with my comparison between the LG Stylo 5 and the Moto G7 Power. Now, this version of the LG Stylo 5 is the Cricket wireless version, and at the moment of me making this video, it's the only version of the LG Stylo 5 that's been released. There are other versions of this phone coming out to other carriers, and there's also going to be a factory unlocked version of the Stylo 5 as well. So when those come out, I'm definitely going to cover those as well, but at the moment, all we have is the Cricket wireless version of the LG Stylo 5. And this version of the Moto G7 Power is the Moto G7 Power with Alexa. This device is exclusive to Amazon, and it's a factory unlocked version of the Moto G7 Power. So this phone actually works with AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, Metro by T-Mobile, Cricket, and Boost. And since it's factory unlocked, you can easily jump from carrier to carrier with this phone with no issues at all. Now that's really nice, especially if you like to shop around for your carriers or you think you might be switching in the future, because having a factory unlocked phone just gives you a bunch of flexibility. So I'm certainly very excited for the factory unlocked version of the LG Stylo 5 to come out when that eventually happens. Now there is a Cricket wireless version of the Moto G7 Power, and that's called the Moto G7 Supra. The only difference between those two devices is the name. Other than that, it's the same exact phone. So if you go on Cricket's website and you look up the Supra, it's the same phone as the Power, so just keep that in mind. Now I'm expecting the factory unlocked version of the LG Stylo 5 to go for $250 because that's what the LG Stylo 4 is currently being offered at. And the factory unlocked version of the Moto G7 Power is also $250. Now at Cricket Wireless, the LG Stylo 5 is $229.99. And at Cricket, the Moto G7 Supra is $179.99. So if you're getting these through Cricket, you're going to be spending $50 more for the LG Stylo 5. Now definitely take a look at the link in the video description for the most up-to-date pricing for these two devices, as that's likely to change over time. And I actually have a breakdown on my website of all the different versions of the LG Stylo 5, and I'll be updating that over time. So if you want to check that out, then go to kevinbreeze.com/LG Stylo 5. It's kind of meant to be a one-stop shop for all your LG Stylo 5 info so that you can make the best buying decision possible. But anyway, with all that out of the way, let's dive into the specifications of these two phones. Now both devices feature 6.2-inch displays, but clearly, as you can see, there are some major differences. The first difference is that there's no notch on the LG Stylo 5, and the Moto G7 Power does have a notch. So if you like notches, then the Moto G7 Power might be the device for you, and if you don't like notches, then you might want to go with the LG Stylo 5. Now what's funny is that even though the Moto G7 Power does have a notch at the top, we have a pretty big lip here at the bottom, and it's about the same size as the lip on the bottom of the LG Stylo 5. Now, of course, the LG Stylo 5 has about the same size bezels on the top and bottom, but overall, I think both phones are attractive looking, and you're definitely not going to get the most cutting-edge designs out there in the budget price range. So I'm very happy with the designs of both of these phones for their price. So I'm definitely happy overall with the designs of both of these phones. I think both look very attractive and appealing. Now another difference between the displays here is that the LG Stylo 5 has a 1080p display coming in an 18:9 aspect ratio, and the Moto G7 Power has a 720p display coming in at a 19:9 aspect ratio. So the display on the Moto G7 Power is slightly taller here than the display on the LG Stylo 5, but the LG Stylo 5 does have a higher resolution display. Now, I think both devices have good looking displays, and it's not like the display on the Moto G7 Power looks bad at all despite it being 720p. Colors are great on both devices, and if someone told me that the Moto G7 Power has a 1080p display, I would believe them because it is nice and crisp and clear. Now I suppose the fact that the LG Stylo 5 does indeed have a 1080p display makes it the better display of the two, But I wouldn't let the display sway you one way or another because both devices have great looking displays. Now up top here, both phones have front-facing cameras. The LG Stylo 5 has a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, and the Moto G7 Power has an 8 megapixel front-facing camera. So you are getting a higher megapixel count on the front-facing camera on the Moto G7 Power. Both devices feature 32 gigabytes of internal storage with the ability to expand that with a microSD card. Neither of these two phones have wireless charging, and they both have fingerprint sensors on the back, and they both work really well. Let's try out the fingerprint sensor on the Stylo 5. As you can see, it's super quick there. Also, shout out to me, it's 112 degrees where I am right now, so very hot outside. Now we'll try out the fingerprint sensor on the Moto G7 Power, and you can see that was very quick as well. It's possible that it might even be a little bit quicker on the Power than it was on the Stylo 5, but both have very good fingerprint sensors, and both are in very convenient locations so that you can easily reach them with your finger. Now on the back side here, we have a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera on the LG Stylo 5, and on the Moto G7 Power, we have a 12 megapixel rear-facing camera. Now both devices only have one single camera on the back, but I actually don't mind that because I'd rather have one decent camera on the back than two mediocre cameras. From my testing, both devices are able to take good-looking photos, but I think the Moto G7 Power has slightly better cameras, especially with the front-facing camera, but the rear-facing camera is better too. Both phones feature 3 gigabytes of RAM. The LG Stylo 5 runs the Qualcomm Snapdragon 450 processor, and the Moto G7 Power runs the Qualcomm Snapdragon 632 processor. So you're getting a much better processor with the Moto G7 Power. And I've definitely noticed that. This device has much better performance. It has much better software too. It's a lot closer to stock Android. And overall, I think the software is much better optimized on the G7 Power as well. So as far as the software experience goes and using the device itself, I think the Moto G7 Power is better than the LG Stylo 5. You also get portrait mode on the rear-facing camera on the Moto G7 Power, and you don't get that with the LG Stylo 5. What's weird though is that you can get portrait mode with the front-facing camera on the Stylo 5, so I don't understand why they don't also have it on the rear. And saying that there's no portrait mode due to having a single camera on the back is not a good excuse, because the Google Pixel 3a has some of the best portrait mode quality in the smartphone game. Another cool surprise is that the Moto G7 Power, we actually have 4K video recording with the rear-facing camera, and video recording on the LG Stylo 5 maxes out at 1080p at 30 frames per second. So that's pretty interesting and pretty cool, especially for a cheaper device like this. The LG Stylo 5 has a 3,500 mAh internal battery, and the Moto G7 Power, hence its name, has a massive 5,000 mAh internal battery. So you're going to get much better battery life with the Moto G7 Power. Now both devices run Android 9 Pie, which is great to see because that is the latest version of Android. Now that we've compared the specifications of these two devices, let's now compare the hardware. So we already talked a lot about the front here, and you can see that we do have a 1080p display on the LG Stylo 5, and we have a 720p display on the Moto G7 Power. Both are 6.2 inches, and of course we have the notch here, and no notch on the LG Stylo 5. Taking a look at the left side, on the LG Stylo 5, we have the volume rockers and we have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card, and on the Moto G7 Power, we have just the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Now, what's interesting is that on the LG Stylo 5, we do have this pretty nice premium metal band going around the side of the phone, and on the sides of the Moto G7 Power, it's just all plastic. That being said though, the Moto G7 Power definitely feels like a really solid device, and so does the LG Stylo 5. Taking a look on the right side here, on the LG Stylo 5, all we have is the power button, and on the Moto G7 Power, we have the volume rocker and power button. On the top of the LG Stylo 5, we just have the noise cancelling microphone, and on the Moto G7 Power, we have the noise cancelling microphone and 3.5mm headphone jack. On the bottom side of these two phones, on the LG Stylo 5, we have the stylus, which is something that's not found with the Moto G7 Power. We have the speaker, we have the USB Type-C port, we have the microphone, and 3.5mm headphone jack. And on the Moto G7 Power, all we have is the USB Type-C port, and we have the microphone. Now this color of the LG Stylo 5 is the blonde rose color. This is an exclusive color that's only coming to the Cricket wireless version of the phone. So if you really like this color a lot, you are going to have to go with the Cricket version of the device. Now you can also buy it in platinum gray, and I don't know what colors are going to be available with the factory unlocked version of this phone when it does come out, but it seems like that platinum gray is pretty consistent through all of the leaks that I've seen of all of the different versions of the Stylo 5. And the Moto G7 Power, at least this version of it, is available in this nice blue color. Now you can definitely see that the Moto G7 Power is a fingerprint magnet. It's really picked up a lot of fingerprints. And the LG Stylo 5 has picked up some fingerprints on the back here, but not nearly as much as the Moto G7 Power. So you can see on the back of these two phones, we have a flash, we have the camera, we have the fingerprint sensor, and we have logos for the two companies that are behind these devices. So overall, quality-wise, there's no doubt that having this metal band around the LG Stylo 5 is a bonus over the Moto G7 Power just having all plastic. But I think both phones have a nice build quality, both phones feel really good in the hand, and they're super solid. The G7 Power is a bit thicker though than the LG Stylo 5, and I think a lot of that is due to this device having that massive 5000 mAh internal battery. I definitely like the haptic feedback motor more on the Moto G7 Power. It just feels really solid and it's a little bit mushy on the LG Stylo 5. But let's now do a speed test comparison between these two phones. We're going to start up the camera right now, so 1, 2, 3, go. And it was a lot quicker on the Moto G7 Power. Let's now pull up Google Chrome. 1, 2, 3, go. The G7 Power was super quick at starting up Google Chrome. Very cool to see. Let's go to Yahoo. 1, 2, 3, go. Moto G7 Power was faster at starting up Yahoo. Let's go to Engadget.com. 1, 2, 3, go. Moto G7 Power is faster at starting up Engadget. Now we'll let these two load out, then we'll do some scrolling here. So we'll do a quick scroll on the Stylo 5. There we go. And a scroll on the Moto G7 Power. You can see the G7 Power does a much better job at scrolling here. And I think that's due to it having that better processor. So overall, I don't think there's any doubt that the Moto G7 Power is the faster of these two phones. So which of these two phones is better? Well, I think a lot of it comes down to your personal preference. Of course, there's some bonuses with the LG Stylo 5 that you can't find with the Moto G7 Power. So of course, the LG Stylo 5 is the only phone out of these two that has the stylus, and if that's a big deal to you, then you're pretty much gonna have to go with the Stylo 5. Now, I like the stylus a lot personally, and I can see a lot of situations where this can come in handy. Besides the Galaxy Note line of phones, I'm not aware of too many other phones that feature a built-in stylus, so that's definitely an awesome thing to see with the Stylo 5. But definitely some of the biggest strengths that we have with the Moto G7 Power is of course the big battery, but also the faster processor and the better optimized software. So not that the software is bad on the LG Stylo 5, but I just feel like the software is super good on the Moto G7 Power. So for me personally, I would go with the Moto G7 Power over the LG Stylo 5, but I do think both phones are good options. It's not like one's bad and one's good. They're both good. I just think that the Moto G7 Power is one of the best out there. And on top of that, if you are going for the Cricket wireless version of either of these two phones, then you're going to be saving $50 with the Moto G7 Supra over the LG Stylo 5. So not only are you saving money, but you're getting a phone with a better processor, better performance, and better battery life. Now, if you're looking for a factory unlocked phone today, then you're not going to be able to get that with the LG Stylo 5 because that hasn't been released yet. Of course, I'll update the links in the video description when there is a factory unlocked version of the Stylo 5 out. So you might want to check that out as well. But I'm expecting these two devices to be exactly the same price when the factory unlocked version of the Stylo 5 is released. But I really appreciate you watching this video. Let me know what you think of the comparison down in the comment section below. Let me know which of these two phones you like the most, as I'm really interested to hear your thoughts about it. And I will see you in the next video. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter because I'm on there quite a bit. So I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.